Alright, hello to you from me, A Story Whispered. And I think today, by necessity, this will have to be a bit of a ramble. Entirely off the dome, as it were. I am dealing with a little bit of overwhelm, overbooked, having a few too many irons in the fire, and I include this as an iron not because it is a chore for me to do, but there really is so much creativity going on in my life right now that I kind of don't know whether I'm coming or going. And so the thought of kind of sitting down and scripting or finding something to share with you that feels appropriate and valuable and is worthy of your time and is relaxing for both of us, it didn't seem like it was in the cards for this week, but there's so many new folks coming along, and this is the thing, is we do this every Saturday, so I thought I would think a little bit, ramble a little bit, talk a little bit about what is and what isn't in my life, and find a way to make it be informative, relaxing, calming, and teach myself to slow down, take some gentle breaths. We're not on a midnight train going anywhere. We're just here relaxing, enjoying the fact that it is Friday. The house is clean, dinner has been made, the dishes have been washed, and the whole place is quiet, and there is, if I let it, a whole beautiful stage upon which to relax and daydream and come up with something, I don't know about beautiful, but maybe something relatable. I mentioned the cards before, and I think what's in the cards is some questions, and I do have some cards here from a game that I got for Christmas that my family was not as interested in as one might hope, but the game is the Hygge Game. I'm sure we're not pronouncing that right, and I'm sure you could find it pronounced appropriately somewhere on the internet, but the game is a cozy game. It's a calming game. It's an intriguing game, just of questions. No big winners and losers. No finger-pointing gotchas. No big reveals. It's just a way of quietly, gently getting to know the people around you. We played it a little bit over the holidays, and I was surprised by some of the answers that my family gave. And so I thought maybe I could repurpose these and share a little bit, see what comes to mind, see what strikes me as calming, soothing, see if it works one-on-one. So I will draw a card here at random and see what we're talking about today. What is the strangest thing you've ever eaten? This is that personal questions trend ASMR topic. I don't think I have a very exciting answer. I think probably elk is the most off the beaten path thing I've eaten, which is not to say I wouldn't. No, I think it is to say I wouldn't. I think I'm well known for being a finicky eater, though I've done my best to kind of even that out in the intervening years. But yeah, I was always teased for not liking anything with speckles or dots or anything that was not easily identifiable as a child's specks of pepper were very worrisome to me for some reason. And I didn't like to eat things with faces. I was sort of, the family mythos around me was I was very sensitive to these things. And I wouldn't say I'm too worried about eating things with faces these days, but yeah, I certainly don't go out of my way to find food that might be a huge extension for my palate. I don't know. I feel like you kind of have to have the right opportunity and be with the right people to be excited about that. I'm not big on seafood. That's an unfortunate fact about me. Everyone else around me goes for it in a big way. I don't know, just a nuance of my personality, I guess. Okay. On to another card. What do you consider to be the most productive time of day? Or your most productive time of day? There certainly is a priestess of the dawn part of me that does like to get up. That does like to get up early and get things done and has energy and capacity and likes sunrises and feels quite settled in that. But yeah, I think it's sort of, I have a crepuscular nature where I'm good at the beginning and at the end of the day. The middle is a bit smushy and a bit exhausting for me. I sort of have energy from 7 to about 10 or so, and then probably from 7 to about midnight or later is sort of when I function, but that doesn't really align with modern life, so we just try and make it work and try and not get too many great ideas at 11 p.m. That's not to say I don't try and keep notes when that happens or push the boundary and keep myself up late, but yeah, I am most productive, I think, as a night owl and as a morning lark. Okay, let's take another look at these cards. A good little stack of them. Okay. What city has exceeded your expectations of it? I have been quite lucky in my life to have had some opportunities for international travel outside of the United States, which is where I live. Recently, of course, maybe not of course if you're new here, I had the opportunity to go to London and Newcastle as well in the UK, and both I think caught me off guard with how much I enjoyed them and how much they were both overwhelming, but also they felt very special and I obviously you can't kind of wrap up all your thoughts about the history and the culture and the experience of trotting on roads that you've dreamed about since you were a little girl into some pithy kind of statement. Suffice to say, it was a very special experience. I think Florence was also Florence, Italy was also sort of an incredible experience because I was really there by myself, and I was a little bit younger, and yeah, it was sort of a miraculous thing to have somehow gotten myself on an airplane that could get myself to such a beautiful part of the world. Yeah, I think I don't really have the kind of expectations maybe when I travel that something needs to blow me away. I think it needs to give me an opportunity to explore it, and mainly I need to give myself that opportunity. So when I've done that, and I've had places to go and little itinerary, I've always been quite overwhelmed by the experience of travel. I think it's one of the healthiest, best things I ever get to do. I'm quite enjoying this little self-questionnaire. Let's see here. What was the first email address you've ever had? The first one, I think, and this will date me, of course, but this is back in the America Online days, and certainly I remember I was around, I guess, for Prodigy and those first days of a little bit of visual attached to the internet. And I remember we got America Online, and my parents didn't exactly know much about it. We were really, but they were always very smart about technology and making sure we had access to a computer. And yeah, so getting those CDs to install America Online and that modem sound and fighting for access to the phone line was a big part of my childhood. And I remember it was Misty and a long series of numbers that I can't fully recall right now, but it was Misty for Misty of Chincoteague, the horse story, which or series of stories about wild ponies on islands on the east coast of the U.S. I think I had no other compunction about using that. It felt very appropriate to what must have been a 10 or 11-year-old girl, and not realizing that it might have any other connotations for anybody else. Yeah, internet back then was a huge part of my life and a huge, real, goofy time. Lots of friends and memories and places that aren't exactly real, but yet are real to me. Yeah, good old Misty. Okay. So many cards. What crowd were you a part of in high school? I mean, I definitely was a nerd. I definitely was a geek. But even in those groups, I'm sure I felt like an outsider. I'm sure I felt like I was not really part of any particular group. I played the viola for a while, but I certainly wasn't connected to other players in the orchestra. I didn't practice certainly enough to warrant maybe their attention. There wasn't really any group that I felt like I stuck with. I felt a little bit like had a little bit of Teflon, and I slid kind of through. And I've come to learn that that wasn't really a unique experience for a lot of people. A lot of people, I wager, would say they weren't really in any group. They sort of just bounced between them. For me, I do know I was in a really liminal kind of place. I was really, there were no enemies, there were some cruel kids every now and then, unavoidable, but there really wasn't, a home for me. I just, AP English and that crowd for a little bit felt like my people, a few people in the different activities, a few people that have been around me for a while, but I wouldn't have necessarily called them my friends. I don't know. I feel like there were people that knew of me. Like everybody, high school was a little bit hard. I'm understating it. It was high school in all its breadth and depth and painful necessary evolution, where it prepared me for things and it failed to prepare me for things, and it broke my heart and molded me and didn't do a damn thing for me and all of that. So yeah, I look back and I don't feel like there's a group that I was a part of that I need to kind of reconnect with or have memories with. It was family more than it was high school. Yeah, let's maybe think of something else. I'm avoiding some questions. Is this my right? Would you be willing to work hard to learn a foreign language if it would double your salary? Definitely. Absolutely. 100%. I could probably, if I was working on it diligently for the purpose of, my job, I could probably get my French back up to snuff. Not too much difficulty. It's definitely, I'm definitely somebody that understands a lot by hearing. It's naturally the speaking when you don't have an opportunity to converse with somebody in it all the time, or you're not really in that culture. But I have loved French for a long time and took it in high school and even into college for a little bit, and even sort of did some Rosetta Stone and all of that. Also, I've learned I really haven't learned any Irish to speak of, but I would love to pick it up if I've studied it and not absorbed it in the past. And I have been spending like the past 2 years slowly chipping away at Ukrainian Duolingo, just for my own pleasure, and it's a beautiful language. So I have enjoyment and desire to kind of get the meaning out of a language by learning it. So definitely, if someone wants to double my salary for that, I will get to learning. I I don't expect that to be the case, though. Are the two most important things for people to be happy? I think, unfortunately, must be said money. In this world, money is a requirement for people to have a life where they don't have to stress, where they don't have to consider the most straightforward line towards getting money. I know that it has made a difference in my life to be able to focus on creative things. So, yeah, maybe it's terrible to say, but money. And then I think just the intention. I think someone that's definitely struggled with depression and anxiety, kind of the buoying, the desire to come back up to center, and that intention of just somehow seeing my way through it, even when it's not clear how, and even when I know that the path ahead is covered in spikes and I'm gonna have to go through those spikes. And I'm gonna have to go through those spikes to get anywhere at all. I think knowing I have the choice in my head to smile if I want to smile about it, and put my head wherever I want to put my head, and not feel controlled by outside forces about the way I feel, to know I have that autonomy. Emotional autonomy, I guess. Money and emotional autonomy are my answers for people to be happy. What song tends to make you tear up? Song that immediately comes to mind is a song called Blue Caravan by Vienna Teng, and it's attached to some memories, of course, of heartbreak and a certain part in my life, but the story of someone who doesn't necessarily feel seen and is perhaps a bit limerent and a bit imaginative. It's definitely one that triggers a response in me, for sure. I think we'll end here on this final question, which is sort of a bit of a doozy of a question. Would you want to know in advance how and when you're going to die? No. I don't think that the pressure that would come of that would lead to anything good. I don't think my desire to check things off a bucket list, as it were, or connect with people, or do whatever sort of feels necessary to do when you're facing the end of your life. I'd much prefer to sort of trust that the way I'm living, the kindness that I'm showing, the connections that I'm making, the path I'm walking on is what I want to do, and is the result of my own decisions, and not the result of a ticking clock. So, yeah, I feel like if life is fair and good and right, you get the time you need, and it comes out in the wash. And if it's not, then you're gonna miss out on something anyway. So, yeah, there's some desire in my mind to, be like an elf, experience hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, but I think even over the last decade, I realize, a decade that has had passings of people I love, and And then seeing the impact of age, that doesn't have the same allure it once did. Which is not to say I'm not exquisitely happy to be here in the age I am. Just that if everything changed tomorrow, I don't want to rush and flail and move without dignity through the world to check something off a list. I think I want my life to look and feel the way it will look and feel. Just what is destiny? What is going to happen, rather than interrupting that with worry and I think knowing a few people that have a sense of a contracted timeline for their lives, I feel like everybody's sort of got to deal with that in their own way, and I would not seek that experience out for anything. So yeah. So that's a little bit of randomness about me. I don't know how this will work or go, but I feel like it is a proper ramble. I feel like we have gone some places, and maybe you'll feel entertained enough to answer these questions or look up the Hygge Game. Hygge Game? To look up a game if you're inspired for a little self-inquiry and inquiry into the thoughts and feelings of those around you. I am so grateful for this quiet little opportunity to speak aloud what's in my heart and on my mind. And I absolutely wish you all very well. And if you've been falling asleep to this, I hope I pause and I hope I slow down. And I hope I let this airplane pass. Oh, listen to